Good morning. I'm going to share a process that I went through for planning a trip. This is an actual trip plan for something I'm personally working on, and I think it is illustrative of the way that AI can help with travel planning and do it in a smart way. This is really about going from overwhelm and confusion and stress to a point of almost absolute clarity. You'll see what I mean as we go through this, and I'm going to go through it quickly because it's a fairly long, uh, I'll say, conversation that I had with Lucia, the Italian or Italy travel concierge, and I want you to see how it evolves. That's really the thing to watch and watch the conversation and the back and forth and the um, sharing of information, the questions, the answers, and how Lucia worked with me almost like a person would, almost like a live travel agent would. And this is not to, by any means, suggest that Lucia, as an AI concierge, could replace a real travel agent because they have absolutely value and local knowledge. But it's just to show you what this could do for somebody that's planning a trip like me. So I started out by saying I need help planning and organizing my trip itinerary. And Lucia says, absolutely, I can help, but I need a little bit more information, and goes on to say that this is what would be ideal for her to know: the dates, the places, travel style, who's traveling, all obvious things and, very logical. And then once I share that, she will do a sanity check of feasibility, which is what I wanted. So I start to describe more details about the trip. There's three travelers. I give the dates: arrival, departure, significant events during that period of time. And she says, thank you. This is clear enough now to do a proper structural review and optimization, and gives a verdict that this works well. There's some areas that need to be tightened, which I knew and which I wanted help with. So she acknowledges the fixed anchors, which I provided and wanted to build around, essentially. That's the arrival, departure, the wedding that we're going to on the 14th. That's a big anchor. And then she provides an optimized structure. Okay, good. And goes through that structure. And I'm going to just speed through this. And she shows key improvements, what she fixed, uh, unnecessary base changes, protected the wedding days, prevented backtracking, and added recovery time before key events. And what she didn't do was mess with trains or ferries or hours, that type of thing. Next steps. If you want, she's saying she can help me choose a best Riviera base, which is something I wanted. Train routes, talk about boat versus train. Uh, can help if I reply and give more information about the preferred vibe and that type of thing. So I go on to say in my response back conversationally that I wanted to provide some additional key details. When in Milan, my preference is to stay at a Marriott in the downtown area. In Lerici, we're planning to stay at this hotel, the Europa Grand, and the wedding itself is on the 14th. I wanted to reiterate that. She says, perfect. Those details help a lot. Executive verdict. Anchors are solid. Europa Grand Hotel, excellent. She's not trying to sell me that hotel because I picked it using Marriott properties. Enforces or reinforces that's a good idea, and I picked that. It's not being sold anything. And fixed and approved anchors goes through those dates, which is great. And I'm going to skip through all of this so you can see some of the further development of this conversation and how it evolves. This is important, and I want you to see this. I gave her more preferences that are very important to me in my planning. One, avoid crowds. Two, avoid moving too much and changing hotels. Three, prefer to stay on July 9th in Milan and visit one Riviera town, preferably stay in an Airbnb and avoid stairs and dragging luggage as much as possible. She says, excellent. These preferences narrow the field very clearly, and she's going to give a firm recommendation. And she recommends this little town called Sestri Levante and a backup, Moniglia, as an alternative. Provide some pictures and what these locations do. They avoid crowds. They achieve one base, no hotel hopping. They achieve minimal stairs and luggage stress and have excellent rail logic, all things that are important to me. And what they're not doing is recommending places that don't meet my criteria, like Cinque Terre, Portofino, Camogli. How this fits. Again, here's the draft of the new revised itinerary with those localities being suggested to accomplish my objectives. Final recommendation. And I love that this statement is in here. If I were planning this trip, this is Lucia saying this, the AI. If I were planning this for my own family with your constraints, I would do a Airbnb in Sestri Levante from the 12th, I'm sorry, from the 9th to the 12th. Walk everywhere, treat everything else as optional. And then we go on to do a further sanity check saying check or exact train logic. Help decide where in Sestri to stay and flag what not to attempt. And again, it's based on my criteria, my preferences, and she comes back with sanity check, train logic first, what not to do, some correct logic in Sestri Levante in getting to Lerici. Do not attempt ferries with luggage. I've read that. It's important. Do not do chaining multiple buses. Don't want to do that with luggage. Don't arrive late. And then avoid for your trip hills behind town, properties requiring underpasses and climbs, anything marketed as secluded hillside retreat. And those are vacation killers in July because of the heat. Here's a July heat reality check. This is something that's been on my mind. And you can't avoid the heat, but you can kind of manage your trip to minimize the impact of the heat. And it's saying, do not do these things because of the heat, and do these things because of the heat, early morning swims, long lunches, siestas, and so forth. Think Mediterranean rhythm, not sightseeing. Perfect for me. Bottom line, clear and protective. The train logic is sound. Sestri is sound. Bay of Fables is a suggestion for a location, a micro location. And she's saying if you want, I can recommend exact streets, restaurants, and build a do nothing Riviera rhythm that feels special. And I say, build a do nothing Riviera rhythm that feels special. And she says that's exactly the right instinct for July on the Riviera. And goes on to establish why this suggested itinerary works. What are the core principles? And they are early mornings, long middle of the day's golden evenings. Bass, Sestri Levante, and it gives the repeatable rhythm. Late morning, evening. What makes this feel special is repetition, not novelty, familiarity, low decision load. What not to add. These are stressors. Cinque Terre for just a few hours would be stressful. Portofino ferries, midday sightseeing, multiple reservations per day, anything described as iconic at noon. Those all break the spell of a Mediterranean vibe. And how this supports the wedding. On the 12th, we arrive in Lerici rested, acclimated, not carrying heat fatigue, not feeling like I ran through Italy, which means you look better, you feel better, and you enjoy the wedding more. Final thought from a local lens, people say we didn't do much on the Riviera are usually the ones who had the best trip. And if you want, I can translate this rhythm specifically to Lerici. I can suggest one additional micro excursion. And I'm saying this is very helpful, super helpful. And can you give me a summary of this exact itinerary I can share with my fellow travelers? She says, absolutely. Here's a clean, shareable summary. And there's the summary. She offers in a moment to provide it as a PDF document. And I say, sure. And then I end up basically saying, in addition to the PDF document, can you just give me a text version in this chat for copy and paste? She even got packing guidance here, which is Riviera Smart, not overpacked, which I find very valuable. Optional ideas, zero pressure, things that we can add if we want. Final note, this plan is intentionally calm. If everyone follows the rhythm, the trip feels luxurious, unhurried, and memorable, and we'll arrive at the wedding rested and happy. And then I said, create the PDF. And she was working on that. And here's the PDF here. And then I said, give me a copy and paste version, which is here. And this is really, as I said in the beginning, the ultimate result of all of this conversation, this iterative process with Lucia, the Italy travel concierge, is this clarity right here, this highlighted agenda, which is just tremendously further ahead than where I was when I started this. And I can copy and paste this and email it to my other fellow travelers. I can use it to help create a blog. There's just so much I can do with it. Most importantly, what it does is relieves stress for me. So I'm going to stop it here and put this up on YouTube. And I'll give you in the notes, the description, the link to Lucia. If you want to try it, feel free. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. It does not require a login. It does not require an account. It does not require a credit card. So um, don't be afraid to use it.